Slee, just tell me if the meeting has started. Are we seeing anybody, coming in there, looking very upset, for instance?
Well, we do know, Maseko, that the meeting is officially underway. It started at around 11 a.m. this morning. And I must say that the venue for this particular meeting was supposed to be in Sandton. However, due to some issues that were brought up by the unions, the meeting was then moved to Pretoria. We now find ourselves at the Department of Trade and Industry. We know, of course, that the strike being in its ninth week, this means that the parties involved have not been able to find each other on many of the issues that have been brought up by the workers. But if I just read the statement to you in terms of why the venue was changed, the unions say in their statement that they rejected the venue in Sandton, which was supposed to be at the Da Vinci Hotel in Nelson Mandela Square. They have rejected it as a matter of principle, saying that this is not posturing or any moralistic snobbery. It's a matter of working class solidarity, as they believe workers' leadership must live and work on the same conditions as their members, and as such they believe that it would be an insult to Clover workers who are impoverished by slave wages, whose working conditions are under attack as part of cost-cutting austerity measures, and have been on strike for 3 months without pay, for union leadership to accept a venue for talks on their plight on one of the most expensive, luxurious hotels in the whole continent. So that is why the meeting now finds itself here at the Department of Trade and Industry, and we know that the minister and his officials are now trying to intervene to try and resolve this impasse between Clover as well as the striking workers.
And Slee, I just wanted to find out from you. I thought that maybe just like yesterday, you'd see some of the workers probably camped outside. I assume that's not the case there today.
Definitely not. You can see behind me, we here just outside the Department of Trade and Industry. There's just some work that's being done outside of the venue. We know that the meeting is underway inside. I had spoken to one of the officials to find out if they had begun, and he had confirmed this. However, we were hoping to speak to them, but it does seem as though they are locked in those talks. We are hoping to get a sense as to what the outcome will be a bit later on once that meeting is resolved. We know that a number of the issues do surround the issues around the closure of factories, wage cuts, the issue around corporate restructuring of the Clover manufacturing business, and so today what we're hoping to see really is some kind of resolution between the two parties, the unions as well as Clover. But in terms of some of the demands that have been put on the table, it does seem as though that may be quite a difficult task for the Department of Trade and Industry that is trying to intervene in this particular matter. We know that the unions and as well as the workers are very resolute in their demands, saying that they are now mobilizing for an international day of action on the 27th of January, where we're expecting to see many supporters of the strike taking to the streets, demanding that some of those demands that have been put on the table by the workers that they be met. Yesterday, Maseko, you would remember that we spoke to some of the workers from Clover, speaking about their plight and what a dismal and dim festive season it was for them, and not having been paid. One of the workers I spoke to says that he's been employed at Clover for 34 years. And he says that when the retrenchments came about, he felt as though the company treated him as though he was nothing, as though they aren't human beings, and these cost-cutting measures for the company are just coming at a time where the workers really are struggling and in need of their jobs. You know what the COVID-19 pandemic has done to the country's economy, and so trying to save as many jobs as possible, I think, is what the unions representing these workers are trying to do.
I wonder, Slee, if the Minister of Trade and Industry, Ibrahim Patel, is part of that meeting that's going on inside those offices. But also, this is not the first time that the unions ask for intervention from his department. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they met around December or early in January this year. Do you know at all what happened during those talks that didn't work out?
The issue is really around the demands of the workers. So they are demanding that the retrenchments be retracted, that all the workers that were retrenched get their jobs back. They are demanding that the factories that are intended to be shut down, that doesn't happen. And the intervention of Milco, which has bought some shares into Clover, they're saying that they don't want Milco to be part of the Clover shareholders. Those are some big demands that I think the unions are making in terms of what they want to see happening at Clover. And what Clover is saying is that due to the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had such a devastating impact on their business, they've had no choice but to restructure and come up with ways to ensure that they can save as many jobs as possible. But the unions are saying that this is just posturing, that Clover can do more to save more jobs and to ensure that they aren't retrenching and as well as closing down factories. And so I think the meetings that have taken place, there's been a number of meetings, Masego, many since the strike began in November last year, and there just doesn't seem to be a resolution that's coming up. They are deadlocking in these talks, and I think the intervention of the Ministry of Trade and Industry is now trying and resolve this. We're in the 9th week of this particular strike, and there's now mobilization to try and intensify the strike action, which is why I think we're once more seeing another attempt to get the parties back in one room, back around one table to try and find a resolution to this particular action.
All right, Slindelo Masigani in Pretoria for us. Thank you. Let's leave it there for now.